stories and give you guys kind of an overview of why they are so important and some real life examples of shows you might have seen, different characters and how they play a part in it.
Is anyone recording for you?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
You're fine.
I didn't see one.
No, you're totally fine. And then after that, I'm going to explain our worksheet that we're going to be completing together, which obviously follows by our workshop on the worksheet. This worksheet is going to benefit our assignment that we will be starting on tomorrow, which is creating a dialogue between two characters from completely different shows, movies, and so forth. After that, we're going to have a partner share where you guys are going to group up and be able to share kind of what you're brainstorming, the ideas, bounce them off each other and stuff like that. And then finally, if time permits, we're going to do a full group share, let you guys share which characters you're thinking about using and so forth. So for the goals for the day, we are going to try to have a deeper understanding of how to look at a fictionalized story and the characters within it, as well as begin learning this through doing a deep character analysis that has you creatively think about characters you are already passionate about. And with that, let's get started with our first activity. Actually, I lied. So here's an example of kind of what our activity is going to be. For example, these are some things that I'm currently watching, playing, and reading. Cobra Kai is an exceptional show. I binged all of season 2 over the weekend. Be careful. But now let's turn it over to you guys. What are you guys currently watching or playing that you're passionate about? Yeah, Emily?
I don't know if you guys have heard of it. It's called Behind Her Eyes. It's a limited series on Netflix.
Yeah.
I just started. I'm in the middle, so don't rush anything. But
totally fine.
Really good.
Yeah, Rachel?
Ironically, I'm actually playing the Uncharted collection. I'm on the 3rd game, but also watching How I Met Your Mother.
Oh, yep.
So good.
Yeah, I played them all through. I'm on the 2nd one right now.
Yeah, I'm on the 3rd one. It's class.
Yeah.
So good.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, right?
Okay, so right now I'm going through Crazy Ex-Girlfriend on Netflix. It's a musical series, and really happy that you brought up characters for it because
Yeah, for sure. Blake?
I'm watching iCarly right now.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Are you excited for the reboot?
Maybe. Maybe not Jeanette McCurdy, so like, I
I
don't know.
know.
Yeah, no, I definitely get that. Lev?
I've been watching Disney movies, and really on the other side of the spectrum, I'm watching the Salt Back Race.
Yeah, for sure. I'm waiting.
I've been rewatching all of Friends.
Okay, yeah.
That's fun.
No, that's awesome. And now, once more, what are some characters from both that you guys are really passionate about? And I'm not looking for the main protagonist, more side characters that you don't think the show could live without. Riley?
okay, this is the main character, but it's basically the central core and thesis of the series.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, so the main character's name is Rebecca Bunch. Rebecca is a deconstruction of a popular romantic comedy trope of the quirky girl, the girl who like does a lot for the guy that she likes to crazy extremes, but she gets away with it because she's so quirky and also there's kind of a double standard when it comes to women in that. The deconstruction here is that is that the show actually has her suffer for the consequences of her actions, and it actually takes a look into her overall mental health.
Yeah, for sure. What about you, Emily?
I can't. I really like the main character, Adele.
Yeah.
I think she's Rob. Whatever. Sorry, I ruined it. I'm so sorry. Don't watch
Don't
it.
worry
I'm
about
sorry.
it. Blake, what about you?
So Sam Puckett, obviously.
Yeah.
She's just very funny, and I think she has the most likable personality. Well, I guess not likable. She's just funny to watch, you know.
Yeah, for sure. What about you, Rachel?
Barney Stinson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing without him.
Yeah, for sure. What about you, Whitney?
I feel like there's lots of debate over who the main character is in Friends,
Very
but
true.
to pick a character that I think is like very well developed and the show couldn't go without, I would say Janice. So the lady that says,
Whoa.
oh my
I
god.
didn't expect that.
For sure.
Sure.
Or
And Lev, you have to pick one, who would it be?
I kind of thought So I know, I'm sure it's fun, but obviously Disney characters like Disney movies anyway, the princess ones especially, they can't go without their sidekicks, but they can go without their princes.
Yes,
Exactly.
exactly.
I like it. So yeah, exactly. So moving on from there, we're gonna kind of look at why these characters are so important. I don't know why that cut off a little bit, but you know what? Nope, it's fine. So I have a couple of examples here. And I want to take a second to really think about this and imagine if these characters weren't involved in the show at all. For example, one of my favorite ones is The Hunger Games. You have both the book and the movie. If Primrose Everdeen, a character who really doesn't take the spotlight, especially until the third one, wasn't involved at all, the show really wouldn't have its premise. And that is a really good example of somebody who might not be in the spotlight all the time, but they still play an extremely important part in the story itself. So now think about your own shows. You guys don't have to share, but try to think about how your show would be different if those characters weren't in it, if the video games didn't have specific characters and so forth, kind of how they would be affected and things like that. And then, what do characters do for the story? So again, I'm gonna open up the floor for some more discussion. And basically, why are these characters such a vital part of the story? You can really tackle any three of these questions. What makes a good character? Weird, like cut off my words, it's fine though. Or how do you begin to craft characters that can help to elevate the story? What are some ways that you can do that when you're writing? You guys have any ideas about that? Yeah, right.
Well, likability always helps, for example, and it doesn't always, and it don't have to be objectively likable either. Like Barney Stinson has been described as being a borderline sociopath at times, but he's also one of the funniest characters in the whole show. So
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Winnie.
I think random, like, really quirky things about characters make them really memorable. So, you know, all you have to say about Monica and Friends is that she's a clean freak, and like right away you associate clean with Monica and like weird with Phoebe.
Yeah, exactly. Does anybody else have any ideas? Ways that you can maybe do any of this, or what makes a good character, why they're so important? Riley, you got something else?
okay, so part of what makes a character important is that at times they are at the center of whatever the central story arc is. There's two typical types of story arcs that happen, which overgoes to change. Sometimes change is one that the story creates on the character, say like learning a lesson or growing as a person, or the change is something that the character imparts on the story.
Yeah, exactly. And Riley hit it. They are basically the reason the story exists. The story exists around the characters, and they are going to paint the message that the author is trying to tell, which is such a vitally important part of the story. So here it is, characters are the heart of the story. Characters are what are going to keep the entire story moving along. They will progress through the plot for you and be able to tell that story. As well as a big one that some people don't think about are the audiences. The audiences are searching for original and personal characters, kind of like what Whitney said, that they can connect with. You want to grow that bond, just like when you all talk about your own favorite characters, it's because you find something about them that you can connect with or that you enjoy. And that's basically what audiences are looking for when you write your own story. And many times characters are viewed as more important than the story itself. You might not even care where the plot is going. Maybe you can all think of a story like that. But because you love the characters so much, you don't really care where the plot's going. Maybe a show that by the 5th season, it's not very good, but you love those characters so much that you keep watching it. My immediate thought goes to Community. Last 2 seasons of that show are not very good. But I love the characters by that point, so I want to keep watching it. Does anybody have an example of a show like that?
Shameless.
Yes, exactly. That's a great one. Yeah, love.
The Walking Dead.
Yep. Just watching the episode. Riley?
I watch Supernatural way past its expiration.
Yeah. Exactly.
And Grey's Anatomy, I don't watch it anymore, but yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I agree.
No, you guys all nailed it. Okay, and then with that, we are kind of going to usher into our activity. Let me pull that up. Ready. Yeah, there we go. Which is the Unsuspecting Character Dialogue Worksheet. So I'm going to pass it out real quick. And then I will explain it before we get started on it. And basically, like I said, this is just going to be brainstorming for our bigger assignment that we will begin tomorrow. To kind of help you start to generate some ideas. So don't feel too much pressure. I'm not grading it. Thank you. There's that. So before you guys get started on it, we can take a look. So basically we have 4 different columns, and what each one of these is doing is just trying to draw out ideas, help you guys be able to think kind of about what we're doing. So try to remember that the premise of this assignment is going to be have 2 characters from completely different shows. So maybe Sam is talking with, trying to think of somebody else. Give me another character from any show. Meredith Grey. They meet, and you kind of want to craft why they're meeting, why they're talking, and why their two worlds are colliding. So for example, the very first question you have, write down any characters you liked or disliked in any story, TV show, movie, or video game that you might just want to take a deeper look at. So you guys can now start it. If you have any questions when we're walking around the room trying to help you guys out, feel free to bounce ideas off of me, so forth. But yeah, feel free to jot down any ideas, no ideas about ideas. This is your chance to brainstorm.
Have you seen, of course, Meredith Grey meets Bellatrix?
Awesome.
I'm saying that Bellatrix is going to the hospital after the Hogwarts battle to win it. And she somehow meets Meredith Grey.
I'm looking forward to reading that. That's